So I had to eat my words with this deck. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Team Forbidden's YouTube page again, and it's Andrew the Collector here with a brand new deck. Well, I guess I shouldn't really say brand new anymore. Floowandereeze. This deck came out in the recent set of Burst of Destiny. It's definitely a very unique deck. I will say that for sure. And I am going to be pronouncing it with their OCG Floowandereeze instead of Floowandereeze because, you know, it sounds like Floowandereeze nuts. I'm not going to make that joke. I've made it plenty of times before. But from here on out, I'm just going to pronounce it by Floowandereeze. But what I mean by eat my words is because when this deck was first introduced, I thought it was going to be like top tier quality deck because their recursion is absolutely insane. It's on the level of Salamangreats almost. But what I failed to recognize at the time is that they have a lot of weaknesses that just shuts them down completely. Mainly with Droll and Lockbird, with Artifact Lancia, Summon Limit, Hand Traps, Effect Veiler, Infinite Impermanence. There's just so many different ways that you can really grind this deck to a halt. Does that mean it's bad? Absolutely fucking not. It's still an amazing deck. It just has a lot more weaknesses in it than, say, Sword Soul or Phantom Knights or Dragon Link or everything like that. The deck is really linear that when you hit a certain point in their strategy, it just ends their turn completely. But let's just get right into it and I'll explain my reasoning for a lot of these as we go along. So the first main guys you're gonna wanna have are 3 Floowandereeze Robina and 3 Eaglin. The main strategy for Floowandereeze is to normal summon consistently. You are not going to ever special summon in this deck. Why do I have an extra deck? I'll explain in a little bit. But their main effects that they all share is for the Floowandereeze, when they are removed from the field, they're banished instead. And while they're banished, if you normal summon a winged beast monster, you can activate its effect that while it's banished to add it back to your hand, and you can only do that once per turn. Robin's effect is that when it's normal summoned, you can add a level 4 or lower winged beast monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can normal summon again. Eaglin is the same thing, but you add a level 7 or higher winged beast monster. So basically, the entire strategy is that you normal summon Robin, search out Eaglin. Off of Robin's effect, you get an additional normal summon. His effect, you search out one of your higher level 7 monsters. You get an additional normal summon, you tribute them both, normal summon out your high level monster, and then both of their effects will activate their banished to get them back to your hand. It's a simple strategy, but it really works. So next is 2 of each of the Steer and the Toucan. These ones aren't as important, that's why you have only 2 of them. They share the same secondary effects of being banished, but their initial effects, Steer is when it's normal summoned, you can banish a card from either player's graveyard, and you get an additional normal summon. Toucan's effect is that you can add a Floowandereeze card that's banished and add it to your hand, and then you get an additional normal summon. So still really good, but not good enough to run at 3s. Then your main boss monster of the deck is the Floowandereeze Empen. Empen has quite a few effects. Its first one and its most important one is that while it's face up and it's been tribute summoned, all your opponent's special summoned attack position monsters can't activate their effects. So it's basically a pretty good floodgate. Its second effect is that if it battles, quick effect, you can banish a card from your hand, and then the monster that it's battling, its attack gets cut in half. Non-targeting, so it's really good. And its third effect is that when it's normal summoned, you can search out a Floowandereeze spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and then you get the additional normal summon of any monster. The thing about the other Floowandereeze monsters is that their additional normal summon allows you to only normal summon a winged beast monster. Empen allows you to normal summon just in general. any kind of monster. However, we only run wing beast monsters in here, so that's pretty much irrelevant. But a lot of the times it can come up. So yeah, run 2, no less than 2, but you don't really need 3. They have a third monster called Snowl. It's not as good. I would still say it's decent. It gets a lot of criticism for being garbage, but its main effect is that you can basically banish a card from your hand to flip all your opponent's special summon monsters face down, kind of like UCT, except it only goes after special summon monsters, which is okay. And its third effect is that if it's normal summon, you can activate its effect to get 3 additional normal summons that turn. So again, not really good. Oh, and it also provides piercing damage for all your Floowandereeze monsters. But the name of the game here is control, not necessarily battling. Speaking of controlling, Barrier Statue of Stormwinds. There's a basic combo that we use this guy for that we'll go into a little later. And then for your other level 7 or higher ones that you can search out with Eaglin is Mega Monarch and Apex Avian. Mega Monarch it found its calling in this deck. It's absolutely perfect because when it's tribute summoned, you can target a card on the field and in the graveyard, and then you send them back to your hands. If you tributed a wind monster when you tribute summon him, you can target an additional card on the field and send it back to the hand. So yeah, if you target any cards in your graveyard, you can send them back to the top of your deck to gain to gain resources back. And then Apex Avian's effect, everyone should know what this is. It caused a lot of havoc during the start of the Pendulum era. It's an Omni Negate while it's on the field if you just send it back to your hand. And the last of the monsters are the Hand Traps, 3 Dimension Shifter, and 2 Ash Blossom. Dimension Shifter, this is the perfect deck to run in it because this deck thrives on having your stuff banished, obviously, because the Floowandereeze monsters are going to be banished anyway, and you can recur them from being banished. So it's probably the best hand trap in the game right now. And Ash Blossom is Ash Blossom. I mean, I really shouldn't have to say anything about Ash Blossom. Now off to the spells. 3 Floowandereeze and the Magnificent Map. This one is pretty crazy. It has 2 main effects. The first one is that during your main phase, you can reveal one of your level 1 wing-based monsters, namely your Floowandereeze, since those are the only ones that you run, and then you banish another level 1 wing-based monster from your deck, and then you can normal summon the one that you revealed. Keep in mind that is not your main normal summon. So you can still normal summon afterwards. So you would normal summon the one that you revealed, chain 1 to search out something, chain link 2 to add back the one that you banished from your hand, and then just go on with the combos from there. Its second effect is that during your opponent's main phase, if they normal summon, you can basically get normal summon a Floowandereeze monster from your hand to your side of the field. And that's where the Mega Monarch can come in, because if you go through all your searches again, you can tribute summon your Mega Monarch and then bounce the monster that they just normal summoned. And if you have Barrier Statue of Winds out on the field, they really can't do anything unless you're facing the mirror match. So yeah, run 3, actually run 4 because you have Terraforming. I run more Terraforming if I could, but sadly it's at 1. And probably one of the most important cards in this deck is their continuous spell, Floowandereeze and the Unexpected Winds. This one has a few effects too. It unclogs your hand by basically allowing you to once per turn reveal up to 2 wing beast monsters from your hand, shuffle, send them to the bottom of the deck, and then draw 2 cards, and then draw that same amount of cards that you sent back. It's a hand fixer basically. And its second effect is that when it's most importantly is that if you are going to tribute summon a monster that requires 2 tributes, you can tribute one of your monsters, and you can send one of your opponent's cards to count as one of those tributes. Keep in mind that this is not tributing, it's sending. So cards like Mask of Restrict can't stop that, because you're not tributing cards, you're sending the cards due to this card's condition. So that's a good way to get around that. A lot of people ask if Zombie World can stop that. Unfortunately not, because you're technically still are tribute summoning, and Zombie World prevents you from tribute summoning. This one, you're not tributing the cards, you're sending the cards. And the best part about it is that you can send any card your opponent controls, not just monsters, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, run 2, you don't need 3, 2 is just perfect. So you're not going to special summon 3 Pot of Duality. It's duality, get additional consistency. And speaking of consistency, 3 triple tactic talents. A lot of people think that Crossout Designator would be good in this deck. I think so too. Unfortunately, Crossout Designator is still ridiculously expensive, and I was able to get my hands on these. So let's say that they try and stop your plays with a hand trap during when you're going first. You drop this, you look at their hand, send a card from their card back to their deck. Or if you want to try and keep going in your own plays, you can draw 2 cards. It's real good. So yeah, I've had a lot of success with triple tactic talents in this deck, so that's why I'm running it. And then for the 1-ofs, 1 gold sarcophagus, because you know they have the effect to recur themselves when they're banished, so the easier the better. Dimension Fissure, again, do we like things banned? Harpy's Feather Duster, because we can have nicer things. And Called by the Grave, because it's Called by the Grave. Hand traps really hurt this deck. Again, why is that 1? I don't know. I would run more if we could. Now up to the traps. 1 of each of their trap cards. Floowandereeze in the Scary Sea and Floowandereeze in the Dreaming Town. Dreaming Town is basically another copy of Maps, to where it just allows you to get another normal summon of a level 7 or a level 4 or lower wing beast monster from your hand during your opponent's turn. So it's basically the second effect of the map. And its second effect is that while this card is in the graveyard, and while you control a level 7 or higher monster, you can banish this card and change all your opponent's monsters that they control to face down defense position. So again, it's like Snell and UCT. This one's a lot of people say this one's better because it doesn't target just special summon monsters, which I think is just great. But I think the real crown jewel of their between these two is Scary Sea. A lot of people don't really like Scary Sea, but I love it. It's a counter trap, and when your opponent special summons a monster, while you control tribute summon monster, you can negate the summon, bounce back the monster, and then for the rest of their turn, your opponent can only normal summon 3 times. Only normal summon 3 times. How often can a deck recover from something like that? Especially when you have a fully set up board. Not a lot can't, which is why I like this. If this one wasn't also super good, I would be running 2 of these ones. I actually used to run 2 until I found out really good strategies with this one. So I decided to just take one of these out and put him in, because again, these are searchable. So you only need to run 1 of each, because a lot of the times your opponent can't recover. And then the last 2 are 2 Solemn Judgments. Now for the extra deck. The extra deck is, you really don't need much from it. All I have are super polymerization targets in here. You can, if you wanted to, you can basically not have an extra deck if you don't want to. But I prefer super polymerization targets, or you can go Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherry targets. You don't need your extra deck really. You can even go Waking the Dragon targets, because a lot of their effects prevent you from special summoning. So it's not really necessary. Now, before I end the video, I just want to go into just a really quick combo, or let's say a bare basic combo. Let's say you have a Robin and you have a map, just to show you how good the map is. You activate the map, and then you use this effect to reveal the Robin in your hand. Then you banish your Eaglin. Then off of the map, you normal summon. And now that Robin's been normal summoned, you chain link 1, and Eaglin's effect chain link 2 to add back to your hand, so your opponent can't Ash Blossom you. They can still effect value, which would be detrimental, but since you still have your normal summon, you'd still be able to normal summon this out when it goes back to your hand. But you add back your Eaglin, and then you get your search off of Robin. In this case, it would be the Barrier Statue of Storm Winds. And then off of Robin's effect, you would normal summon, get an additional normal summon. So you normal summon Eaglin. Eaglin's effect, search. You would search out your M-Pen. Then you get your additional normal summon. You would sacrifice these 2 for your M-Pen. M-Pen's effect to search chainlink 1, and Robin's effect chainlink 2 to add back to hand. You can't add back the Eaglin since you already used its effect, so you add back your Robin back to your hand. And then you get M-Pen to search out one of your spells and traps. In this situation, I would probably go for, let's see. I would either go for Scary Sea, but because of the circumstances, I would probably go for their continuous spell. And then you get your additional normal summon off of him, so you normal summon your Barrier Statue of Storm Winds. And then you will activate your Floowandereeze Unexpected Winds. And if you don't have anything else good in your hand, you would use this effect to, draw additional cards. Or if it was the counter trap, then you would just set it and you would have that. So basically you have a Floodgate for your opponent's special summon monsters, and you have a Floodgate to prevent special summon monsters. And if they try and normal summon to get around this, you have your Magnificent Map to just go into your whole combo again, and then use Eaglin's effect to get either your Ryzen to bounce back their monster, or your Apex Avian to go into any kind of interruption. But again, it depends on the type of deck that you go up against. But that's it for the deck profile, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think. If you, they're getting new support sometime in the future, which is really broken. So once that comes out, I'll update this. But as of now, this is the basic build that you need. Like I said, the deck is incredibly linear, so there's not really much you can innovate for it. But again, it's up to you on how you want to choose to build it. But please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and let us know what kind of videos you guys want us to do in the future, and we'll catch you guys later.